And meditation is the way in which we come to feel our basic inseparability from the whole universe.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. Andre here. In today's edition of Andre Explores, we're talking about meditation. Now, this is a skill that has really exploded over the last few years through the proliferation of mobile applications, podcasts, websites, all different outlets to teach this skill and help get it into people's hands. And I call it a skill because that's really what it is. The more you do it, the better you get at it and the more benefit you derive from it. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what meditation is not, what it actually is, and then go over some very, very basic tips on how to actually do it and benefit from it.
You are probably familiar with the stereotypes. I'd like to show you some samples.
Anytime you talk about meditation, I think it's really important to start by explaining what it is not. With other things, you'd probably say, let me tell you what this thing is. But here we need to focus on what it is not to try to dispel some of those misconceptions and have a better foundation to start from when we actually start talking about what it is. So let's get really clear right up front. Meditation will not magically clear your mind of all thoughts. It will not rid you of emotion. It will not help you levitate or astral project. You will not speak in arcane parables. And thankfully, you don't have to wear robes or shave your head or grow some crazy beard. It's easy to understand why people might have misconceptions about meditation because of the way it's portrayed in pop culture. Whenever you see it in movies and TV, it's usually someone at some elusive, secluded mountain retreat who's training for a martial arts tournament or in a swamp getting ready to become a space wizard. Far less common is the normalized depiction of somebody sitting on a bus or a subway or just on their couch, eyes closed, focusing on their breath. That is vastly less cinematic. So it makes sense that you'd want to try to sex it up a little bit and turn it into something more exotic. But at the end of the day, it's just sitting and breathing.
So what we're going to do now is to add to our definition.
Now that we have some of that out of the way, let's focus on what meditation actually is. Meditation, as we popularly think about it today, is really based on Buddhist mindfulness practices. Now, all mindfulness really means is having a focus and awareness on the present moment and the sensations, feelings, and emotions that you're experiencing in real time as you experience them, rather than being a passive passenger through the experience. You are more of an active observer and participant. Now we've talked about observing things in real time and talked about subjectivity and observation and interpretation and all that stuff, but what does it actually mean in real, hard, practical terms? Imagine an example. Somebody asks you what the weather is like outside. And you look and you say, it's raining. Water is falling from the sky, so yeah, it's raining. That is an objective observation of reality. Alternatively, consider a scenario where you look outside and you say, oh, it's really shitty out. That is a subjective interpretation. You are looking at it, you're seeing the rain, and you are applying an interpretation, a subjective opinion. Meditation is designed to help you improve the manner in which you look at your world, and in so doing, it allows you to be a little more reserved and calm about the things that you're seeing in the world around you, increasing the degree to which you sort of observe things as they are. Is not meant to divorce yourself from emotion or reaction or having an opinion about things. You can still totally think it's shitty when it rains, and you probably should because it usually is. You understand more acutely that that is your opinion and not the necessary state of nature. The really exciting part about all of this is it's not just something that's backed up through human practice and habit, but neuroscience is actually starting to release a lot of interesting research about the ways that your physiology change as a result of engaging in meditation practices. And it's actually kind of simple to understand. If you think about regular exercise, the more you use a certain part of your body, the more blood flow and stimulation goes to that tissue, the more developed that tissue becomes. In much the same way, the more you engage in meditation practices and mindfulness-oriented activities, the more blood flow and stimulation goes to those regions of your brain, the more developed that tissue becomes. This is not to mean that you can't get mad at people, or you shouldn't, or that meditation will somehow turn you into some kind of, passive individual who lets everything happen to them without sticking up for yourself. Quite the contrary. What it does is it gives you the ability to say, like, oh, this guy cut me off in traffic. It's probably not worth screaming at him for no reason.
To be really good at anything, you've got to practice.
Now that we have talked about what meditation is not, and kind of talked about what it is and what it's intended to do, we're going to look at just some very basic technique to kind of try to explain what it is from a mechanical perspective. All meditation is sitting somewhere quietly with your eyes closed, breathing in and out as you normally would, and with every in-breath, you count 1, and with every out-breath, you count 2. And you do this over and over and over again, usually counting up to 10, and then starting over, because once you get past 10, like, the numbers are just going to get too hard to follow. But here's the thing. As you do that, your mind is going to wander. That is guaranteed. If you are a breathing, living human being, your mind will wander off from those numbers. That's absolutely fine. And in fact, that's kind of the whole point. Because when your mind wanders off of that count, eventually you will realize that it wandered. You will think, oh, fuck, I'm not counting anymore. And in that moment of clarity and realization, when you bring your mind back to focus and go back to the count, that half a second, that shift back to where you wanted your focus to be, that is the work. That is the thing of meditation. It's recognizing when your mind has wandered and going back to your focus point, which is your breath. And then you just pick up counting wherever you left off, or if you don't remember because that was like 10 minutes ago, start from the beginning. It doesn't make a difference. The point is not to stop your mind from wandering. The point is not to rigidly try to lock your focus in, but rather to understand that once you have wandered off, you need to bring it back. And that moment of realization is all of the work in meditation. Really, that's all it is. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, bow, look, what's it, up and back again. Breathe in and out. Your mind's going to wander. You're going to bring it back. You're going to keep going. Because here's the real secret, right? You ready for this? When you're out in the world sitting in traffic and someone cuts you off and you start screaming at that person, there's going to be a little voice in the back of your head that says, I don't know if we want to be doing this. And that little voice is going to get louder and louder over time the more you engage in meditation, because that is the little voice in your head that said, oh, your mind wandered, go back to the count. That is your conscious awareness of your actions and behaviors in the moment, of the contents of your mind telling you, maybe we should go back to the focus. Maybe this isn't worth it. And I promise you, it's going to feel really weird and also really cool whenever it happens. The first time, the 100th time, when you find yourself doing something and you're like, oh, dude, you don't want to be doing this right now. You need to stop. You're always going to think, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I was going to do this thing. I was going to get carried away and say something that I shouldn't have. And eventually you're going to be like, oh, wow, right on, this stuff really works.
I think there are some good ideas here. What do you think?
So look, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day of meditation at the beginning of your day or at the end, whenever you can do it, whenever you can fit it in, is not going to turn you into a Zen master. It's not going to make you pack up your stuff and move to the Tibetan mountains. But it will help you over time to have a little bit more focus, a little bit more awareness, and be a little more observant of how you're thinking and feeling as you go through your day. It's probably something everybody can use. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your patience during the last few weeks while we were getting moved and getting everything set up. Like, subscribe, you know what to do, all that stuff. Follow me on Instagram, and yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. And as always, you will see me in the next video.